So with the GDP report, the U.S. economy begins a week that could define the presidency and indeed plot the future course of the world's biggest economy. On Tuesday, November 2nd, it's a contest for Congress. Critical midterm elections are being held. At stake, the House itself. Barack Obama and the Democrats face an acid test of their popularity. Come Wednesday, the economy takes center stage, and the Federal Reserve steps into the spotlight as the financial world waits on how much extra stimulus Ben Bernanke will provide to spur growth. Friday, the limelight is stolen again by what's hailed as the most important economic report on earth. Non-farm payrolls are out, with forecasts pointing to the first employment increase since May. To look ahead to that big week across the Atlantic, I'm joined in the studio now by a man who spends many hours a month crossing it himself. He's an entrepreneur and co-founder of Metro Bank, Vernon Hill. Thank you very much indeed for coming, and I will ask you about Metro Bank in a moment. But it's a big week ahead of us for the U.S. We're gearing up for the midterm elections. What result is Wall Street looking for? A Republican-controlled House?
Yes, I think we're going to see a right turn in the political climate in America, in reverse of the left turn we had in the Obama election. And I believe the market has already priced in a dramatic Republican victory on November 2nd.
How might a Republican House affect financial regulation, banks like yours?
I think it's too soon to tell. As you know, America's passed this new law on banks. No one knows what it means, including those who voted for it. And I think it's too soon to tell. But I think it is fair to say there's going to be a much less active government in America in all fields after the November 2nd midterm.
And what about the impact of new banking regulations here in Europe? There's been a lot of concern about how it's going to affect the competitiveness of cities like London, that effectively we're going to lose business to Asia.
I think that is a correct fear. You know, London is certainly a vibrant financial capital. More regulations and the more taxes that are applied are going to deter people from staying and moving to London, and I think that's a risk.
So how do you balance those concerns with the overwhelming sentiment that taxpayers should never again be asked to bail out any bank?
And I agree with that. In America, they have tried to do away with the theory of too big to fail, which is certainly a concern here. I think this new law has made it more certain that banks are too big to fail. And in America, it appears to me that the new laws have made the problem worse, not better. I think we don't know how it's going to evolve in Europe yet.
No, do you think we'll ever get to the right balance between bringing more stability to the financial system while also not harming the banks?
That is quite a delicate balance. In Britain, where you have so few very large banks, the balance is different than in America, where we still have 8,000 separate banks.
Do you think we'll see more consolidation across the banking industry, with banks that are struggling being swallowed up by those that are perhaps more successful?
Not in Britain. We already have a few number of very large banks, and you know Lloyd's is being required to spin off part of the HBOS. So I don't think we're going to see fewer banks. In fact, I think you're going to see more banks.
But your bank, Metro Bank, was the first new UK consumer bank in more than a century when it opened a few months ago, right?
Right, and this is the end of month 3, and our 4th store opens in Bournemouth this morning. And we are here because we see an opportunity to bring dramatic change to the market, in a market that hasn't offered the consumer and the SME business real choice.
So how's business been then the last few months since you opened in July, I think it was?
July 29th. It's been great, much better than we expected. In the first month in our first store, we exceeded our account opening goals for the first year, and Britons have responded with their feet and with their money.
And why is that? What does your bank offer them that the big names don't?
Convenience, service, and a retail environment. We're almost the anti-bank bank, from 7 days a week to free current accounts, to no stupid rules, it's a much more retail-friendly environment.
You're very positive about the future. You think that there will be more new banks like Metro Bank opening here in the UK. But again, I go back to this question of regulation. I know that there's still a lot of uncertainty surrounding the impact of regulation on the financial industry. Nevertheless, isn't it going to make it that much harder for new banks to come to the market?
There is a balance between the government wants new banks in the market to offer choice, but they're afraid of banks that aren't stable and strong. There's always a balance. I think there is ample room in the UK for more new banks.
Vernon Hill, co-founder and vice chairman of Metro Bank, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.